Prabhu, can we stop or?
Yeah, fine. Yes, fine, Ma. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Karanshu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Vinil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Are you ready, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna, everyone. So welcome to today's Chaitanya Charitamrita class, our usual weekly sessions. So today is a very interesting session because our session is being conducted by our youths. So our youths are going to talk about some short pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some sweet pastimes. So in line, we have, there are like 4 to 5 topics that our youths are going to present today. And yeah, we have Pari, Adi, and Linisha, who are going to present us a few pastimes today. So to start off with the first session, the first sweet pastime of Mahaprabhu. So let's hear it from Pari. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us a chance and, being able to take over such an important class by our beloved Yamuneshwari Mataji is a very big task. So thank you so much. Please forgive me for any mistakes in advance. So I will be reciting 2 pastimes today. One is of the Amra Ghat of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then the other one is of Vasudha Vipra. So the Amra Ghata pastime goes something like this. Now, of course, we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the most ecstatic kirtanist. He sang really well, he danced really well, and he was the most ideal devotee, coming as a divine descent of Krishna. So the story goes something like this. When one day, the Lord performed Sankirtana with all of his devotees, they were greatly fatigued, because of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kirtan was so ecstatic, everyone would be dancing and singing for a long time, hours, days even. So, when the Lord noticed that all of his devotees are sat down and they're fatigued, he immediately went and he got a mango seed and he planted it into the tree, and it began to grow. The fact is, he immediately done it, and it portrays the beauty in his power and his divinity, because he used this to relieve, the tiredness that his followers and the Vaishnavas felt. So he immediately, planted this, and the seed fructified into a tree. And, of course, as people looked on, every second it got bigger and bigger. And the fruits were completely ripened, and everyone, doubtlessly they were struck. They were in wonder. How could this happen? But the Lord then immediately, he also picked about 200 fruits, and it, him doing it himself shows how much he's affectionate towards his devotees. So he picked about 200 fruits, and after washing them, he also offered them to Krishna. Now, of course, it's funny because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is an incarnation of Krishna, but because he's such an ideal devotee, he sets an example for everyone else. He sets an example of how devotees should be in this time. So he also offers it to Krishna. And it goes on to say in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the fruits were all red and yellow, with no seed inside and no skin outside, and eating one fruit would immediately fill a man's belly. Now, I guess the fruit, in one sense, could also symbolize the unreserved service of a devotee. When a devotee is really wants to serve Krishna, no external influences like the skin or no internal influences like the seed are able to become a barrier within their service. So rather they just swallow and they relish that nectarian juice of the fruit that is bhakti and their service. So, and you know, like it says, eating just one fruit would immediately fill a man's belly. And the fact that, you know, they've been performing kirtan for how many hours, how many days, but just one fruit from Krishna directly himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, would completely satisfy them. And you know, like they say, prasadam fulfills the man's physical needs, but what the soul needs is bhakti. And that's exactly what the fruit also represents here. Now, it also goes on to say that seeing the quality of the mangoes, the Lord was greatly satisfied. And thus, after eating first, he fed all of the other devotees. And actually, it's almost quite humoristic here. It shows the innocence and the ability to appreciate in Mahaprabhu. You know, sometimes when someone creates something, it could be a very simple thing. If we create something simple, we gain pride from that, and you know, we think we've done such a great thing. But here, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees the quality of the mangoes, he's greatly satisfied. And you know, being God himself, he doesn't show that pride in what he's done, because he's just satisfied in the quality. And in fact, his mood behind it and his pure consciousness behind it was just to satisfy the Vaishnavas, just to satisfy the devotees. So he wants it to be of utmost quality. And that's why he was also satisfied. Seeing his devotees, he was also, you know, content. The fruits had no seeds or skins, and they were full of nectarian juice and was so sweet that a man would be fully satisfied by eating only one. In this way, the fruits grew on the tree every day throughout 12 months of the year. So throughout the year, the 12 months, the tree would constantly give, you know, so many fruits, and without these seeds or without these skins. You know, if we look at any ordinary tree or any material tree, it doesn't have the qualities of this tree, of course, because it's not directly created by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna. And it just portrays again the divinity and the potency of the Lord. So the Vaishnavas used to eat them, and you know, to the Lord's great satisfaction, it would be like sort of like a festival every single day after the kirtan. So, and these are the confidential pastimes of the son of Sachi. Other than devotees, no one knows of this incident. You know, we are very lucky, we are very special to know that Mahaprabhu is a Gupta avatara, or you know, like a confidential incarnation of Krishna. And so listening to his pastimes are full of rasa. Now, Srila Prabhupada also mentions that actually non-devotees cannot believe this incident. You know, in fact, they can't believe any incident. They think it's a myth. But actually, with this, the amazing part with this is that the tree that grew still exists in Mayapur, and it's called where the tree is. It's called Amraghata or Amaghata, and in fact, it also has a railway station mentioned after it. So you know that in one sense that could be as proof of this pastime. So that is the Amraghata pastime, and now we have the pastime of Vasudeva Vipra. Now this is also a very, very special pastime, and in fact, when I read about this, I was also, you know, quite sort of blown away by it. Now, Vasudeva Vipra was actually a Brahman, and he was one of Mahaprabhu's like great devotees, amazing devotees in the south. We know that, of course, you know, Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi, so he roamed around everywhere. So when he was in the south, when he was in South India, he blessed a Brahman named Kurma Vipra. Now, Kurma Vipra, you know, was also, of course, an amazing devotee. But Vasudeva Vipra, he had leprosy. Leprosy is, in fact, it's a very deadly disease if it's not treated. So when Vasudeva Vipra learned that Mahaprabhu was at Kurma's house, he hoped to, get a glance of him, at least take darshan of the Lord. In spite of his disease, his body had been completely deteriorated, but he even not taking consideration of his physical state, he just wanted that one glance of Mahaprabhu. But he, as soon as he reached there, he learned from Kurma that the Lord had already departed actually, and Vasudeva was so disappointed that he started crying. He started crying for the Lord so much, and he actually fell on the ground and he fainted. And of course, it was like a once in a lifetime sort of opportunity for him, and he thought he missed it. But it shows that, when a devotee like him, when a devotee is really, really poor and kind of materially undistinguished, an ordinary person can't recognize them. But Mahaprabhu is so merciful that from this pastime, he actually revealed Vasudeva Vipra's glories to all of us. So after, he fainted, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he's omniscient. He knows everything. And he also realized that this devotee wanted to see me. And so the Lord is so affectionate that, he'd actually already walked far away. He'd been a good distance from Kurma Vipra's house, but he actually returned to grant Vasudeva the opportunity to see and embrace him. And it just shows the intimacy and the attachment of the relationship between the Lord and his devotee. When Mahaprabhu, completely embraced him, Mahaprabhu's touch actually immediately cured Vasudeva of his leprosy, and it turned him, not only cured him, but it turned him into like a very healthy and handsome young man. And in our case, I guess that would mean, because of course, it's unlikely that Bhagavan would, himself come and embrace us. But through bhakti, when we embrace Krishna, when we accept Krishna consciousness, then, we get that sense of curedness in our life as well. We get that stability. So, this shows that the Lord can only be influenced by devotion, and he doesn't take any notice of mundane qualification. It was Vasudeva's consciousness and his devotion that pulled and it attracted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to him. And even though, Vasudeva's case of leprosy was really bad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still embraced him out of his affection for him as a devotee. In fact, Vasudeva's leprosy was so bad that he had open sores in his body. And from those sores, there were actually quite a few maggots and insects, quite graphic, I know, I'm sorry. But, they fed off the pus and the blood that sort of came, from the sores of his body. And even if one of them fell down, Vasudeva would himself pick it up off the ground and put it back. And it shows, it shows his compassion. He endured the pain of his situation to accumulate and to accommodate, those jivas as well. He had that consciousness. He had that advanced consciousness. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him, Vasudeva was so amazed to see, this limitless mercy from the Lord. And he responded by a verse spoken by Sudama Vipra from the Bhagavatam, which was Kvaham dadriha papya kva Krishnaha Sriniketanaha Brahma Bandhur iti samaham bahubhyam parirambhitaha. And what that says is, just to see the difference between a miserable sinner like myself and the abode of Goddess of Fortune, Sri Krishna. Though I am an unqualified Brahmin, he has embraced me in his arms. And this also shows, his own humbleness and his gratitude as a devotee. Such mercy you could never find in an ordinary human being. In fact, because his leprosy was so bad, people would be disgusted by the foul odor. The smell that used to come from his body. People would not be next to him. He was practically an untouchable in society. But because he was such a great devotee, the Lord not only touched him, but he embraced him. And it shows that, nothing can ever affect God because he understands the true identity of a jiva. And it shows us that a devotee can be within anybody as well. So when Vasudeva was given this amazing new healthy and handsome body, he actually got quite anxious when this is also really weird actually, because if someone normal was to have a disease and they were cured, they would be quite happy, of course, naturally. But Vasudeva, he got quite anxious, he got quite worried, and the reason for his anxiety was that now he obviously thanked Mahaprabhu, but now that he's made him so healthy and so handsome, he was worried that he might get lost in his pride. He was worried that he might not engage with Krishna anymore. And this is not something everyone can do. Everyone always thanks God, but they don't proactively think of how they should engage with Krishna in the future. But Vasudeva did that. Vasudeva was scared that his newfound beauty, hopefully it doesn't affect him. Hopefully it doesn't, increase his false ego. But even then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that he has his blessings upon him, and he said that you won't be a victim to your pride or your false ego as long as you distribute the name of Krishna and the Maha Mantra. So in this way, we see that reciprocation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees in that sense. So those were the two pastimes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Pari. Such a nice pastime you shared, both of them very nicely. I can recollect that the pastime you nicely explained, like, Yamuna Mataji was mentioned, like, like long back, a year back. I'm recollecting those pastimes again from you. Such a nicely shared, like, narration was very, very fantastic. So nice, Pari. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, Pari. Next one goes from Adi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Adi.
Yeah. Oh. So I'll say the story of so I'll say the story of how Lord Chaitanya defeats the great scholar who is known as Keshava Kashmiri. So once there was a pandita, a famous pandita who toured all over India as a scholar called Keshava Kashmiri. And everywhere he went in India, he would get people to sign that he defeated them as a scholar. As a pandita, he was very well known and very famous across India. And yeah, as a pandita, he was very well known and very famous. And the secret of his success was his austere worship of Mother Saraswati. And because he worshipped Mother Saraswati, he could get knowledge to defeat other scholars. And so as he was traveling across India, he set his eyes on Navadvipa, so that after defeating the scholars in Navadvipa, he could become known as the most prominent scholar in all of India. So he traveled to Navadvipa, and as usual, he was praying and offering worship to Mother Saraswati to give him knowledge. The Navadvipa Pandits heard that Keshava Kashmiri was coming to Navadvip, and they were all scared of him as he was known to be undefeated by any other scholar. So then they were wondering what to do, and they finally came to the conclusion. They formed an idea that they would ask Nimai Pandita or Lord Chaitanya to meet him. Firstly, Nimai Pandita was a very young and very strict Pandita. So if he were to defeat Kashmiri, Keshava Kashmiri, then the Navadvipa Pandits would feel lots of glory. Whereas on the other hand, if Nimai Pandita were to be defeated by Lord Chaitanya, the Navadvip Pandits would say, well, he is just a boy, in order to gain another chance. So knowing this, Nimai Pandita, he goes to bathe in the river Ganges, and by the will of his providence, he also meets Keshava Kashmiri coming to the river Ganges to bathe. So Keshava Kashmiri, he understood that this was the person that he would need to meet, and that this was Nimai Pandita. So they both begin to talk. As they converse, Nimai Pandita takes the humble position of a student and asks Keshava Kashmiri, I would like to hear your poetry. I am just a humble student of grammar. If I can learn poetry from you, it would be very nice. So because of this, immediately Keshava Kashmiri composes 100 verses of poetry glorifying the Mother Ganges, one after another. And seemingly all the verses sounded very perfect at first. So Lord Chaitanya, he picked out a verse from the middle of the 100 verses that he remembered perfectly, even though he had only heard the first time, even though Keshava Kashmiri could not fully remember what he had said. And he asked Keshava to please describe the good and bad qualities of the verse that he had chosen. At hearing what Lord Chaitanya had said, Keshava was surprised, and as he was confident from praying to Mother Saraswati, he asked, good and bad qualities in my composition? And he pointed out that he thought there were no bad qualities in what he had said. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out various double negatives, the misuse of syllables, and some grammatical and metaphorical errors in what Keshava Kashmiri had said. However, Keshava had been sure that there were no faults. But even though he had thought there were no faults, Nimai Pandit had pointed out several faults and errors. So technically, Keshava Kashmiri had lost between the two scholars and had been defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Keshava Kashmiri went back to where he was staying in Navadvipa, he was thinking about what had happened. And he was thinking, why did he think there were no faults? Why did Mother Saraswati let him down like that, even though he had prayed? So because of this, he prayed to Mother Saraswati, asking for her to reveal to him what offense he had committed in order to cause his defeat. And that night, in a dream, Saraswati Devi appeared in Keshava Kashmiri's dream and told him to surrender unto the person named Nimai Pandita. Saraswati Devi told Keshava, he is actually my husband. He is actually my master. He is my eternal master, Lord Sri Krishna. So the next day, remembering Mother Saraswati's words, Keshava Kashmiri surrendered unto Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya showed Keshava Kashmiri his transcendental form. So Keshava became absorbed in pure devotional service to the Lord.
So thank you so much, Hadi, for your story. Are you done?
I think it's not finished. Prabhu.
Yeah, I think it's finished.
Thank you so much for sharing the story of Keshav Kashmir Pandit. He's a very great scholar, and we can take a few points like how Keshav Kashmiri was defeated by Mahaprabhu, and out of those 100 stanzas, he immediately recited in front of the river, and Mahaprabhu picked 69 or 67 verse, and he explained that there was a mistake in that verse that he recited. So thank you so much for sharing this wonderful pastimes of how Keshav Kashmiri got defeated Mahaprabhu, also known as Little Nimai Pandit.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Fadi.
And next one goes Rinisha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So today I'll be talking about the pastime where Lord Chaitanya liberates the crocodile. And before I start, I'd like to take the blessings of Guru and all of you. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So how this pastime started was a little boy called Gopala. He very affectionately approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he asked Mahaprabhu to come to his house, saying that his mother has prepared some milk sweets for him. And he very nicely addressed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his brother. And when he said this, Mahaprabhu was kind of confused because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Brahmana and the little boy was a Vaishya, so there's no family relationship. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Gopal, how am I a brother? And then Gopal, his response was that your mother Sachi calls my mom as a younger sister, so that's how we are all brothers. And my mother invites you to please come to our house and take some milk sweets. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reciprocated with Gopal and his mother's love, and he was going to the house. On the way to his house, they were passing through a very large forest, and in the forest, there was a lake, and around the lake, there were lots of cows. They were slightly irritated and disturbed because they were afraid whether it was safe to go inside the water to drink, because they so then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was confused on why the cows are acting this way. So then Gopal replied, and he said that the reason why is because inside the lake, there's a crocodile, which could attack at any time, which is why the cows are scared. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he immediately started Sankirtan. As we all know, he usually brings his Sankirtan party along with him. So he started Kirtan. And when this happened, when he started the Kirtan, the crocodile was slowly coming out of the lake and was coming towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Eventually, it touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. And when it touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, it turned into a little boy. And seeing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was shocked, and he asked the little boy, "Who are you? Where have you come from?" And then the little boy explained to him that he was from the Indraloka, and in Satya Yuga, he was a very naughty boy, and one day he cut the shikha of Durvasa Muni, who we all know curses people quite a lot. So he cut the shikha of Durvasa Muni, and when Durvasa Muni was sleeping. So when Durvasa Muni woke up, he didn't know that it was a little boy that had cut his shikha. So he got extremely angry, and he immediately said that I curse the person who has cut my shikha so that they become a crocodile, because crocodiles like cutting things. So then when the little boy heard this, he immediately asked for forgiveness from Durvasa Muni. And then Durvasa Muni felt slightly bad because it was a little boy, so he wouldn't have probably known what he was doing. So Durvasa Muni said that I can't take my curse back, but I can change it so that when you turn into a crocodile, the Lord will come and deliver you personally. So this is what happened when the crocodile later on in Kali Yuga, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he touched the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he turned into his normal form. So after he turned into so something else that I missed was when the crocodile had touched his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet, he circumambulated around Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 4 times. And yeah, this is very significant because so the 3 main take-home points from this pastime are the importance of the holy name. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't start his Sankirtan, then the crocodile wouldn't have got out of the lake and it would never have touched Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet and it wouldn't have been delivered. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nasti eva kataranita. There's no other way than the holy name to attain liberation. So another very important point is whenever we commit mistakes, we must ask for forgiveness in a very humble mood, like the boy did when he cut Durvasa Muni's shikha. Because if he didn't, then Durvasa Muni wouldn't have adjusted the curse that he gets liberation from Lord Chaitanya personally. And another very important take-home point from this is that the importance of devotee association and hearing from the pure devotees. So if the crocodile didn't touch the feet of Lord Chaitanya, then he wouldn't have been delivered. So this shows the mood in which we must approach pure devotees. We must approach them with a humble and in a mood of gratitude so that we can get their blessings. And if we do this, then Krishna will be pleased. So thank you for hearing the pastime. Sorry if I made any mistakes. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Linisha. Such a nicely you narrated the pastimes. Thank you so much, Linisha. And the next one, hand over to Vinil Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Vinil Prabhu. You can share one pastimes.
Yeah, so Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the Srila Guru Maharaj. So before we start, we go for invocation prayers. So Om Jnana Timnandasya Yaranjana Shalataya Chakshurmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapidamena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Gatamayam Gatati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shira Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sarvajantam Sarvadharam Gunan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladisha Shri Vishaka Vidamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangya Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Shruti Devi Pranamai Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paritana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Shtai Badla Shrimari Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nam Sistanjali Garam Chani Vishesha Shunivadi Prasideshani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Bhakti. Hi Krishna everyone. So we heard a few nice pastimes from Pari Mataji, Adi Prabhu and Dinisha Mataji. So they narrated very beautiful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So now the final one. Actually, I was not prepared for this. So let's see how it goes. So the topic was liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So actually, this is a very big topic. To speak in a few minutes, it's not possible to cover all the points, but I'll try my best to give some important points to the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So get started with. So actually, we can start with how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first. So, but before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, along with Nityananda Prabhu, they were traveling, and there was a story where Nityananda Prabhu misdirects and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to, instead of going somewhere else, he brought Mahaprabhu to somewhere else and said, "This is Ganga," and Mahaprabhu got really pissed off with Nityananda Prabhu, and he got really upset with Nityananda Prabhu, saying that, "Why have you misdirected me?" Because Nityananda Prabhu is also known as the Yoga Maya as well. So even because Mahaprabhu felt like, after all this happened, even there was a point where Nityananda Prabhu, when the residents of Navadip got to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that was a time where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was supposed to go to Jagannath Puri, because he promised his mother, Sachimata, that he will go to Jagannath Puri and stay there for a few times. Then, so Mahaprabhu left to Jagannath Puri from Shantipur. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled to Jagannath Puri, and when they came along, there was a crossing of a river. And at that point, Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's the time where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got really upset with Nityananda Prabhu and saying that no one's valuing this position of a sannyas. So Mahaprabhu immediately ran so fast that he was walking so fast that no one could keep up with them. So then he came to while the other associates and Nityananda Prabhu were coming slowly. So Mahaprabhu was really there at the Jagannath Puri temple. So seeing that in Jagannath Puri, so the moment he saw Jagannath Puri temple, he became so overwhelmed with ecstasy, and he started to just dash into Jagannath Puri temple, and he made a jump from the entrance, and from the entrance just right in the middle of the temple, and he wanted to dash into the altar. But however, Mahaprabhu only could take a darshan from afar, and if you go to Jagannath Puri until now, we can see that where Mahaprabhu used to take stand and take darshan, there's a big wall there, and there's a fingerprint of Mahaprabhu as well there. So because the reason why is that because the guards at the time did not allow Mahaprabhu to enter in, because the guards are there to protect the Lord, so from Jagannath. So no one knew that, none of the guards knew that this was Mahaprabhu there. So when Mahaprabhu wanted to go into the altar to rush to see Jagannath in that ecstasy and overwhelmness, the guards who protects a lot stopped him, and they wanted to even beat him with sticks, because they did not know that he was they did not know that he was Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just thought that he was just creating disturbance to the Lord. So at that time, that was the time where Vasudev Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was present there. So seeing that a young sannyasi, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was wondering, who is this? And the moment when the guards were about to beat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with sticks, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ran and covered his body with his own body, and so that Mahaprabhu doesn't get annoyed, because Mahaprabhu was a sannyas. So no one do that to the sannyas. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya covered his own body with his Mahaprabhu's body, and everyone knows Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because at that point in that place, because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is also known is in the Sabha Pandit. He's actually the principal scholar of the assembly of King Pratap Rudra. So everyone know him. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya noticed that there's some unusual aesthetic symptoms in his body and his personality. So when at that point, so since everyone know Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, so they did not hate Mahaprabhu. So at that point, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was close to Mahaprabhu, he noticed this unusual symptoms, and these are symptoms of aesthetic prema. So these symptoms are the height of ecstasy, and he has only Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He's a learned scholar, so he's only read this type of symptoms in the scriptures, and then so as a type of symptoms of our like pure high aesthetic devotees, and that one of the final point, I think it's mrityu or sambhav. So mrityu means also death, but not actual death, symptoms of death. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has not ever seen such a symptoms in his life. So he was very moved and was very shocked to see this type of symptoms in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. So when the moment Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Jagannath, he immediately fell. He immediately, he just fell down on the floor, just because that much of aesthetic and overwhelming seeing Jagannath. So Chaitanya Prabhu was there and he had no symptoms of life in his body. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, what he did was he kept a small cotton in front of his nostrils and saw slight movements. So that was the time where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood that he's still alive and the breathing was still going on. So what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya did was that he arranged to be carried to his house. So it is then described in the Madhya Leela that the way how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took Mahaprabhu to his house was like, it is described like so many people were carrying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it looks like, how ants carry a piece of rice, like a colony of ants bring just a tiny grain of rice. Like so many people were carrying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya carried Mahaprabhu to his house. So we can see that how surprised Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was, because he has never seen such an ecstatic symptoms of love from the body. He has only read this in the scriptures. So he was surprised to see these aesthetic symptoms, and this is only for Nitya Siddha. So and Nitya Siddha means that a liberated devotee. So this type of symptoms can be only found in the Nitya Siddha devotees, which means liberated devotees. So in that meantime, while this was going on, in the meantime, all the other associates and Nityananda Prabhu came to Jagannath temple. They reached Jagannath Puri temple, and as soon as they came, they heard from others that there was this young, beautiful sannyasi, and he started behaving like a madman, and he fainted. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was there, and along with the associates came Mukunda and Gopinath Acharya. So Mukunda and Gopinath Acharya met, and actually Gopinath Acharya and Mukunda are actually great friends. So Mukunda that found that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house was not too far from the temple. So after inquiring how where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house was, so they found that Mahaprabhu was still unconscious when they arrived at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first suggested that he and Gopinath Acharya, they both had a discussion that they could go and have a darshan of Jagannath and come back. So all the associates and Gopinath Acharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they also went to have a darshan of Jagannath in the temple. And when they came back, they were still shocked to see that Mahaprabhu has not been conscious. They found that Mahaprabhu was still unconscious. And at that point, they sang this very nice bhajan, which was kirtan, which goes like, it's very famous, but we all know that. So it was like, Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. So when they sang that song, that bhajan, immediately Mahaprabhu gradually came back to his consciousness. And along with that, they started doing Harinam Kirtan. So I think, as Linisha mentioned earlier, like in this age of Kali, the only way is that Harinama eva kevalam, kalu nasteva gatir anyatha. So this is the only way of this Kali Yuga, that the Harinama, spreading the mercy of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the glories of the Lord. So when they sang this bhajan, Hare Nama Krishna, Mahaprabhu came back to life, and Mahaprabhu also started to sing with them. He also started to participate with the kirtan, and together with all the associates and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Mahaprabhu's mood is actually to give the holy name. And actually there are two reasons why Mahaprabhu came actually. The first, there's like one external reason and one internal reason. So external reason is to propagate the Maha Mantra for this Yuga Dharma for the age of Kali. So that's why we say it is Gatir Anyata. This is the only name, this is the only thing which can propagate, this can liberate this souls of this Kali Yuga. And another one is the internal reason. The internal reason is to relish the mood of a devotee. And whose mood did Mahaprabhu came? He came in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So we can see that actually Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was also known as Vasudeva. Sarvabhauma means one who has the sovereignty of entire planet. So he was considered the greatest scholar of the entire planet, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was actually these titles are given to like kings, like how we have Samrat and all the other things. So even for the scholars, they have this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So that's how actually this type of titles are only given to the kings, but after that it was also given to the scholars as well. So that's how he's also known as Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. His full form is Vasudeva Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma asked Gopinath Acharya that his brother-in-law. So Gopinath Acharya is Sarvabhauma's brother-in-law. So he asked who did he take sannyas from. So I think actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. So he said that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya stated that that's a second-class sampradaya. So Gopinath Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that you should take from Saraswati sampradaya. But Gopinath Acharya, that is nonsense. So he's a supreme personality of Godhead. He does not need any type of sampradaya. He's a supreme Lord. What are you talking? It's nonsense, complete nonsense. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also said the same thing. He even argued back with Gopinath Acharya, saying that whatever he said was nonsense, because according to Shastra, Vishnu's name is Triyuga. And Triyuga means he only appears in three yugas, which are Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga, and then in Kali Yuga. And Gopinath Acharya said that in Kali Yuga he appeared, but not as a god, but as a role of a devotee to teach by example. So Sarvabhauma then Bhattacharya had a great argument with Gopinath Acharya. Then he decided to finally approach Mahaprabhu, directly approach Mahaprabhu. So he said that when he approached Mahaprabhu, he told Mahaprabhu that he said, "You are so young and so beautiful, and how are you ever maintaining the vows of a sannyasi? So unless you are fully learned and in science of Vedanta." And he said, even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then said that I'm the most learned scholar in India, and let me teach you. In fact, all the tapasyas, great sannyas, yogis, and all other learned scholars from north, south, east, and west, they all come to me and learn this Vedanta from me. Then Mahaprabhu said that, okay, please teach me and protect me. So you can see how merciful Mahaprabhu was and how kind he was, and he was fulfilling and he was maintaining the quality of a sannyasi, humbleness. See, we can see one of the qualities we can see that from this story. So, and then the devotees were so angry with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya because he was telling that I will teach Mahaprabhu now. So, but Mahaprabhu said that no, let him teach. He has so much affection for me. He has like a fatherly figure affection for me. Let him teach. So in the Jagannath temple for 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya declared all his philosophy, and Mahaprabhu listened that for 7 days in the temple. And after 7 days, Mahaprabhu, in that middle of 7 days, while Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was revealing all his philosophies, Mahaprabhu did not even utter a single word. So after 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Mahaprabhu that I have said so many things, And if not even responded to a single question, if you're not even asked a single question, not even responded, not even nodded your head, and I don't even know even if you're listening or whatever you have understood. And then Mahaprabhu replied that the teachings in Veda Vihas are as clear as and easy to understand. But whatever Sarvana Bhattacharya explained to Mahaprabhu are like a dark thick cloud, how it's covered with all the meanings of Veda Vihas. So it's just an overview of that. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was then taken aback and was thinking, out of all the people who came to me and to learn from me, none of them has said something like this. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was shocked to hear and to hear this from Mahaprabhu. And he said that all the people are coming across to learn from me, and you are telling to me like this. So then Mahaprabhu, then he began to explain with his points, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was struck with wonder, and he could not he did not heard anything like that. So because what Mahaprabhu said was nectar, amrit. So but even when Mahaprabhu was explaining to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately understood that I'm defeated and my philosophy is also defeated. No one can speak like this unless they're a supreme personality. But still, he tried to protect himself by counter-arguing with Mahaprabhu, saying that saying all of his points just to justify his statements, whatever he said for the 7 days. But still he understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a supreme personality of Godhead as well. So Mahaprabhu immediately then revealed his sixth arm form, and seeing that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately fell and surrendered to Mahaprabhu. And actually, first, it's important for us to do dandavats, because dandavats, the moment we don't do dandavats, that's the beginning of a fall down. Srila Prabhupada has said this. The moment we are not paying obeisances, that's the beginning of a fall down in our bhakti life. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately fell down and surrendered to Mahaprabhu, and as a sannyasi and as the Lord as well. So he showed, Mahaprabhu showed his two hands holding like in the flute of Krishna, and Mahaprabhu also showed other forms as well, and then back to his original form. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately surrendered his life. So to make it short, the next day when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for darshan in the morning, early morning, in the temple to see Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, Sarvabhauma Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got prasad from the altar. The priest gave him some Jagannath prasad. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought those prasad for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to his house. And when he was coming to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, he was actually, there was a time when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was waking up, and he could see that when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was getting up, he was uttering the name Krishna, Krishna. So Mahaprabhu was immediately amazed to see like how surrendered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was, because the moment he woke up, he said Krishna, Krishna. So then Mahaprabhu went and gave some prasad to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, saying that I've got some prasad from you, and I've brought some prasad and then from Jagannath, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately paid his obeisances and also paid obeisances to the prasad and took the prasad. So what happened was that when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately took the prasad, because he has just gotten up. When he took the prasad, Mahaprabhu asked, "You are a Brahmana and a learned scholar, and you have so much of philosophy, but how could you take prasad without cleaning yourself up? You just woke up, you didn't brush your teeth, you didn't take a bath, you didn't do achaman, and So the reply that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave was that what immediately impressed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the reply was that one should pay obeisances and should immediately honor the prasad of a Supreme Lord, because it is directly from the Supreme Lord. So, and we should not even it's from a far distance, even in the faulty smell or anything, we should immediately honor the prasad because it is a remnants of the Lord. So, hearing that, we can see how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got liberated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So actually, there was many more that was going on in the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, like they had kirtans and many other things as well. So these are one of the main points of like how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got liberated from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So thank you so much for giving the opportunity to just narrate a short pastime. We can go into detail, but it's like since we're running short of time, because if you look, I think last year I gave a class for this whole story, and actually if you look into the Madhya Lila, it describes each and every detail on how this whole thing, which I just spoke about, like I just shared, was narrated and how it took place. Like when it was described how Sarvabhauma Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was carried, like all those things, like so many people were carrying him, was described like how so many people carrying him look like a tiny ant, ants carrying a tiny rice. So all this is described in the Madhya Lila. If we go into detail into that, we can learn so many things. So please forgive me if I've offended anyone in this call and session, and please forgive me for any mistakes I've done. And I'm seeking all the blessings of the Vaishnavas and the devotees as senior Vaishnavas. Actually, I'm not even qualified to speak what I've said. So thank you so much for the opportunity given. So
Thank you so much, Vinil Prabhu. Such nicely you narrated the pastime with a short notice. I know you know that I just called you today morning to just narrate this pastime. Thank you so much, Prabhu, your time. And finally, regarding the Prabhupada Marathon is coming next month. As we all know that Prabhupada most dearest service is like, book distribution. So could you please, you talk something, Prabhu, about that? Any few points, any tips?
Hare Krishna. So we can see that we know that Prabhupada Marathon is starting on the 1st of December. So I think last week we had a session by Soho Brahmachari, and he gave insight of how we even watched the videos of how we should preach Prabhupada books. So because everything that we know is there in Prabhupada books. So whatever, we don't have to study any other literatures or anything. Like, why to go off, why to seek other so many books rather than reading Prabhupada's books? It's like having, to go into a store. Why do you need 5 cars when you go in 1 car? So it's the same concept we apply here, like reading Srila Prabhupada's book, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, and how important is it to distribute and Srila Prabhupada's book, because we in Krishna conscious means Prabhupada has said that the word Krishna means Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and consciousness means the consciousness. We are only Krishna consciousness when we realize that consciousness, which is consciousness, already there in our heart, but out of all of it, due to the dust and all those anarthas and all, it's all covered up. So that when we do that process of cleaning up, then we are Krishna consciousness. So when we do that, then we are Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says. So now we have done our cleaning. We are still not done, but we have just started our cleaning. But there's so many other souls out there suffering, and we also need to, we have to care. Prabhupada said we have to care for other souls as well. So Prabhupada month is coming. So the more and more we distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, the more and more other people get this knowledge and this Vedic knowledge, this full of transcendental knowledge as well, and how they can also become Krishna consciousness. So in that way, we are also being Krishna consciousness, and they're also getting Krishna consciousness. So I think, yeah. Thank you so much, Tabaji Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Such nicely narrated, said about the book distribution. The last thing today's announcement is that before that, I would like to say thank you to all, like, so sharing the pastimes, Pari, Adi, and Linisha, and Vinil Prabhu. Thank you so much. And can we say all three big Haribols to all three young upcoming, Prabhu? Upcoming leaders, these are like teenagers, youngsters, these are upcoming Krishna conscious leaders are there. Can we all say three big Haribols to all of them? There's such effort and the time and sharing the pastimes in front of everybody. Can we say all? Can everybody unmute and say three big Haribols to everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. And Ashish, okay. I would like to say some announcement at the end because as Vivek Prabhu is not here. So I think as we know that Gita Jayanti is coming on 3rd of December, which is next month. In that we have like a Zoom sessions program is going on, like, all Gita Gnan facilitators should encourage their members to take a part in Gita Jayanti online program, which is on 3rd December on 5 to 7 between the time. The Zoom link and information, everything will be shared through all facilitators by next week. That is one. And next one, like, we have a December services going on, like, Soho temple. Those who are already committed, like, agreed the services which we are going to do in the December. Please go to the Soho temple and do some advanced services, take help from the brahmacharis, and what kind of services we can do, like a kind of a training point, like, we can give a 2 days notice advance to Rupesh Prabhu, so that we can get a book a slot and we can do like, training things in physically. And one more thing, like, Damodar facilitators, there is we collected some Lakshmi through part of doing, like, books distribution through Damodar month, as well as the programs which we conducted in the Damodar month. Whatever the Lakshmi collected, we can transfer to that respective DMP coordinators. And as like Vinil Prabhu mentioned, like, before, what is the importance of book distribution it is. So, and also we had last week we had a special session run by, like, brahmacharis. That one book Prabhupada marathon, and all the leaders and should make a strategy and plan and implement that plan before that hand ready for the book distribution, and speak to the BV members and BV leaders. That is like Prabhupada marathon strategy. And next one, yeah, I think that is from announcement point of view. Anybody want to say anything to our teenagers, those who share their pastimes? If not, maybe I'll ask Bhaskar Prabhu to show the darshan.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. Haribo. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Jagannath. Jai Jagannath. Jai Baladev. Jai Shubhadam.
Yeah, they are in blue outfits. This we change.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Such a nice darshan.
All government.
Prabhu.
Harikrishna Prabhu. Prabhu, you want to say anything, Prabhu?
So Jagannath.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Harikrishna Prabhu.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, yesterday it was Bhaskar Prabhu's birthday.
Oh, is it? Okay.
We couldn't celebrate because, like, most of us went to their volunteers dinner.
Yeah.
And as well, like other programs. Yeah, get again programs. So, like, we can take this opportunity to speak something about Bhaskar Prabhu. And also, we all can pray, wish and pray for his good health, especially currently now going through like health challenges, and as well, like, so that he take initiation soon and then progress nicely in his Krishna consciousness, and also help as the continue helping Pramila Mataji in preaching and building a nice congregation there in South End and Basildon. So I'll just say a few words, and if anyone else is there as well can share, and probably can, we can hear a few words from Pramila Mataji as well.
Sure, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I know Bhaskar Prabhu for the last almost like 6 years now, and we had a very close association when we were doing preaching in Dartford and that areas. Even at that time, like, Prabhu's health was not so good, but like, he, what I've seen is like, he has got enthusiasm as a youth, like, as a teen's enthusiasm. Like, he can gel with anyone, like, be it like, kids or teens or like, seniors, like obviously, and peer members, like, he can gel with anyone. And that's the reason, like, kids actually like him. They like, they love him. He makes friendship with them. And in our Dartford sessions as well, like, so many kids got benefited because of his sessions. The way he narrates the stories, like, takes like different stories from different speakers, and like, narrates them so nicely, like, kids actually glue to that story and learn whatever is like, sharing. And like, he used to share like, new stories every week, and teach slokas to the kids, and also give assignments and follow up. And that's what I like most about him. Like, he likes, he is very responsible in following up things. Whatever, like, service he is given, like, he takes it up seriously. And like, if anything is there, he just follow up, like, like, speaking to the kids or like, their parents, especially, like, when you're doing kids kids sessions, like, kids facilitators, like, they know the challenges, like, they can't speak to the kids directly, like, they have to reach to the parents. that actually, it's a, like, it's a big challenge, like, especially for me, like, if you can't speak to the person directly, like, you have to go through someone else, and everything you have to explain twice to the parents and the kids. So he used to do that, like, so nicely, and then parents also, like, like to speak to him and then inquire about his their, like, kids progress and things like that. So he's very jovial, and like, he can he's very approachable for anyone, be it a new person or like, existing peer members, like, he's very good in all the angles. And yeah, like, as I moved to Basildon, like, a few years ago, and then, like, it's a challenging there, but like, both of them together, Pramila Mataji and Bhaskar Prabhu, they are doing such a nice service, like, reaching out to all their congregation members. And then even though, like, imagine, like, in London you have all the facilities for transportation, but in Basildon, it's really challenging. They don't have any car, and they have it's really challenging, like, when you don't have own transport. We all can imagine how difficult it will be, but they do everything, like, reaching out to the members, like, house visits, like, taking care of their, like, members so nicely. And with Bhaskar Prabhu's help, Pramila Mata is like doing so many services exceptionally, like, they have especially this last 1 week, they're having health issues because of flu and other things, but still never they gave their service. And they engaged recently for Ekadashi, they engaged almost 20 20-30 devotees, their members, and then engaged everyone in Jagannath service. You can see Jagannath how nicely they look after Jagannath. That actually this actually proves why Jagannath goes to their house wherever they are, whether they are in London or outside London. They actually go there because the way they look after Jagannath is not just themselves, but actually engage so many members in their service. That's the problem. That's the reason Jagannath likes to go to their house and being served by many souls in any special occasions. So that's very nice. So Bhaskar Prabhu, on this special occasion, yesterday it was yesterday. Sorry, we couldn't arrange anything because of
Thanks for your association, Prabhu, especially.
We pray for your good health and remove all the obstacles in your health and in your Krishna consciousness. May we pray to the Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and Panchatattva there to make your life more and more congenial to practice Krishna consciousness and to always remember Krishna and then never forget Krishna. So thank you very much for all your services, Prabhu. I'm sure you're amazing and everyone likes you in whatever service you associate with them, relate with them. Most of the new devotees nowadays, they may not see you, but if they see you, work with you, I'm sure they love it. They love to associate with you more and more. Even though you're facing so many challenges in your health, your service is not interrupted. And you also give genuine opinions, honest suggestions, how to do the service better. That's what I've seen, when we travel together to Dartford, you always give many suggestions. That's amazing to see how sincere you are to to improve the service and benefit others. So that's very nice, Professor. Please keep that. Keep doing that. And we pray for your initiation soon, yours and Mata's, and your good health and all over Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So please keep me in your prayers, Prabhu. That is only I can request all the devotees. Please keep us pray for us especially. So thank you, Prabhu.
All the devotees will pray now, and also we will try to keep you in the prayer.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think Amma Mataji raised a hand.
Okay, yeah. Amma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just wanted to say happy Krishna conscious birthday to Bhaskar Prabhu. I just wanted to say thank you for teaching me very nicely in spiritual class. The Sunday lessons are very interesting and they've inspired me to become a better person and devotee. So happy Krishna conscious birthday, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Linisha. So you already blessed actually. Thank you, Linisha.
I'm sure there are many kids, but I'm not sure if they're there on this call, but I'm sure there are many kids who got benefited from your sessions, Prabhu. And is Mata is there? Ramda Mata is there? Would like to speak in?
No, Prabhu, she is upstairs actually.
Upstairs, okay. Yeah, so what we'll do is if anyone is there, to share some verse. There are a few devotees who wants to speak, but so we can chant 3 times Hare Krishna for the overall well-being of Bhaskar Prabhu and the whole family.
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu and devotees. Yeah, thank
Thank you very much, bro.
you, Prabhu.
Hope to see you soon. Maybe like next week. I think we're meeting next week. We come there. We'll see. We'll see you next week. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. And happy Krishna Conscious birthday, Bhaskar Prabhu. We'll see you next week. And thank you all the devotees. Today's session, feel everybody enjoyed from listening the pastime from all the youth. Such a nice day. I feel it. Today is Monday. Like a couple of pastimes shared by every single devotees, the teens. Hopefully we'll see you on next Monday with a different topic, the different team. Thank you so much, everybody. See you all next week.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.